I talked a little bit too much. But with that, let's go ahead and finish this out. Baby Bush. Now, we were talking about Hurricane Katrina, that the levees busted and it flooded the city of New Orleans. I kind of had to rush a little bit at the end, but with this, I'm going to tell you that Hurricane Katrina is probably one of the darker marks on Baby Bush's presidency because he was blamed for the lack of an immediate response. I'll tell you that Bush and FEMA probably could have been a little bit more proactive about this. However, there is another side to the argument in the fact that Bush, FEMA, and all state governments, except for the mayor of New Orleans, who some people think was a little bit crazy, told people, you need to get out. This is going to be a massive storm. Get out. And some people didn't listen. When they didn't listen, they were stranded. There were over 1,500 people, about 1,800 people that died, and they blamed FEMA and President Bush for that. Now, in my opinion, it's an act of God. Could the government have been a little bit better in responding? Very possibly. But with that, Katrina will be a little bit of a black mark on President Bush's domestic policy. Here's some of the signs that kind of popped up around here. Mr. Bush, where are you sleeping tonight? Billions for war, not a cup of water for our people in New Orleans. It was seen because of a lot of these pictures. I don't know if you noticed this, that a lot of these are African American people, and here you have literally dead body. I mean, it was horrific, guys. It was seen a little bit of as a racial issue. I don't think it was. I would like to think it wasn't. However, if it had been a bunch of white people there, who knows what would have happened. I don't know. Would like to not think that it was racism. However, a lot of people think that it was the fact that lower income were the ones that were affected. Step 1, gather up emergency rations of food and water. You see this cartoon? It says step 2, move to a rich white neighborhood. I don't know. FEMA's Guide to Avoiding Disaster. With it, you need to know about Hurricane Katrina. You need to know what caused the flooding, the levees breaking. You need to know that it was a little bit of a black mark. Now, last thing, very last thing. 2008 economic crash. Causes. Let's get these down. Causes. Irresponsible investing by banks. Oh, let's go ahead and put no regulations. And there was a thing called a housing bubble. Around 2000, banks had started offering a lot, because the economy had been really good, a lot of loans to a lot of people on what they called adjustable rate mortgages, which means you sign up and your interest rate is really low. However, they can raise it when they want to. So people think, oh, I'm going to get a really, really nice and big house. I can afford it now. But when they raise the interest rate, things get a little bit dangerous. So a lot of people had bought more house than they could afford. I'll give you an example. I was literally a 22-year-old waitress at Outback Steakhouse. This might be a good question for a quiz. I was a 22-year-old waitress at Outback Steakhouse. They qualified me for a $275,000 house. Could I afford that? No. Do they want me to sign up for a loan and then jack up my rate on me? Yes. So was it a little bit of the bank's fault? Yes. Was it a little bit of Wall Street's fault? Yes. Was it a little bit of the government's fault because they hadn't regulated this? Yes. And in 2008, it all came crashing down. It's a lot like, I'm going to be honest with you, it's a lot like the Great Depression. Except for this one isn't going to be a Great Depression. It will be called a recession of 2008. But Baby Bush is going to be the one that largely receives the brunt of the blame for it. Although I don't think it's just him. Here's a really interesting cartoon. I'm leaving with my head held high. Only because he's about to drown in his own problem. That kind of looks like oil. So with that, that is Baby Bush. You need to know, going back over this, about the 2000 election between Gore and Baby Bush. You need to know about the Supreme Court decision that gave it to Baby Bush. Domestically, you need to know about Hurricane Katrina and the crash of 2008. You need to know foreign policy about the war on terror. Remember, 9/11 equals Afghanistan. Afghanistan. Don't put Iraq. Iraq was caused by Saddam Hussein and the weapons of mass destruction. And Baby Bush went in there, and we did get Saddam Hussein. He was taken out of power. We're still somewhat in Iraq, although we've largely been taken out by President Obama, because that's one promise that he gave that kind of got him elected. And then lastly, you need to know the Patriot Act, which is, of course, the questionable law that basically says the government can listen, hear, wiretap, do whatever it needs to make sure you're not a terrorist. Sometimes I think, hey, you want to know? I want to know who's terrorists. I don't want my brother getting hurt, me getting hurt, my family getting hurt. Sometimes I also think, ooh, I don't know if I want the government listening to every single thing I say. Who knows? Tune in for Obama. He'll be quick.